Shabbat Shalom. Rabbi Hirsch and I recently returned from Israel. Together, we led the third cohort of the Amplify Israel Rabbinic Fellowship. This group of 24 rabbis represents the 59th early career rabbi we are supporting with 1 year of intensive professional development to strengthen their Zionist voice, draw their communities closer to Israel, and deepen their connection to Jewish peoplehood. Prior to the rabbi's arrival, I led Amplify Israel's Volunteer Birthright for Reform Jews. We brought 95 volunteers to take part in Israel's civil society rebuilding efforts following 2 years of war. On a day in which we visited the Western Negev, the part of Israel that experienced the direct infiltration of Hamas from Gaza, I saw a sign that took my breath away. I'll describe it to you. Seemingly, it's a typical sign, one you might see here by a building project. It gives a description of the project, identifies the project's financial backers, the name of the architect, the engineering team, and the builders. This sign on Kibbutz Kfar Aza, a kibbutz that was among the worst sites of massacre on October 7th, is across a path and a few strides away from the young people's section of the kibbutz. There, every building is pockmarked, burnt, and bears signs of the young lives brought to a brutal end here or carried off to Gaza. For the first time on my many visits to this region after October 7th, I walked into one of these homes where a beautiful couple was murdered. Their dread is palpable from the final WhatsApp messages sent to their loved ones, which appear on a poster on the wall. The image of a prayer book found among the destruction only reminds us of the injustice and innocence taken that day. Returning to that sign, across the way and down the path, it describes a project to rebuild homes on the kibbutz in the hope that its members may choose to return. The funders of the project are listed as Brothers and Sisters in Arms, a veterans organization that has become the backbone of civil society. While I didn't recognize the name of the architect or the engineer, the builders were familiar to me, listed as Ezrachei Yisrael, the citizens of Israel. And there they were, passing by us, men and women who looked like you and me, in their work clothes and gloves, rebuilding and enabling the future of Kibbutz Kfar Aza and this region. Seeing them and their self-starter, spirited attitude, I was reminded of our parasha. Actually, not our parasha. Last week's Torah portion, Shmot. There, we were introduced to the characters of the Exodus, inspiring individuals who take action into their own hands and pursue justice. Moses, the prince who looked out and saw an Egyptian taskmaster abusing an Israelite and leapt into action, killing the Egyptian. Later, when forced to flee, he witnesses the daughters of Jethro suffering from the bigotry of local shepherds and comes to their aid and waters their flock. We meet Shifra and Puah, activist midwives who refuse Pharaoh's genocidal order to kill Israelite boys at birth. Not only do the midwives act against the decree, so too does the Egyptian princess, who adopts and saves Moses from certain death. Moses' sister Miriam and mother Yocheved are also heroines of the Exodus story. They will not give into injustice. Even Pharaoh, the first tyrant to wish our people dead, there will be many more to follow, is an independent actor in the first Torah portion of the book of Shmot. When we enter our parasha Va'era, everything changes. These self-starting, justice-pursuing activists become enfeebled. When God tasks Moses with the responsibility to serve as a messenger to Pharaoh, his confidence disappears. Vayedaber Moshe lifnei Adonai lemor, hem bnei Yisrael lo shamu elai, ve'ech yishma'eni paro, va'ani aral svatayim. The Israelites would not listen to me. How then will Pharaoh listen to me? And I am tongue-tied. Now this is the same Moses who only a few chapters later on Mount Sinai will speak, and God will respond with a thunderous voice. But in our parashah, he's tongue-tied. The Israelites, who in last week's parashah cried out, obligating God to renew the covenant that was struck with our forefathers, in this portion, they were unable to even listen to Moses' words. Mikotza ruach u'me'avodah kasha, because their spirits were crushed by cruel bondage. Even Pharaoh, whose behavior is never decent, becomes incapable of independent action as God controls his heart, which is hardened over and again throughout this parashah. If you're open to the comparison, our Torah portion is like the most important play from Sunday's wild card Bills-Jaguars game. While Josh Allen might be among the greatest quarterbacks of all time, his most successful play that day didn't come from a brilliant pass or a handoff. Rather, it resulted from him cradling the ball like a baby and being picked up by his teammate, feet off the ground, and carried 10 yards toward the goal line. All of the players in our Exodus scenes are carried along by God. They engage in almost no independent actions. They are passive, acted upon instead of acting. It's strange, an anomaly to witness this depiction of the Israelites and their leader, Moses. Passivity is not a quality we revere. Israelites and Jews are about wise decisions and brave actions in the face of challenges. Last night, I hosted a book discussion here that addressed the 1929 and 1936 attacks against Jews in Mandate Palestine. Turning away from the hate and destruction, the author Yardena Schwartz writes, the 30-year-old town of Tel Aviv had developed into an all-Jewish city of 150,000 residents. The ancient Hebrew language had been revived and was now widespread. At first glance, maybe this is fiddling while Rome burns. Who needs art, culture, cafes, and a thriving economy while our brothers and sisters are living and their lives are being threatened? But that is the wrong way to read this statement. Tel Aviv's establishment, its place as our Jewish cultural capital, then and now, is anything but frivolous. Building for the Jewish future, what they were doing in the 1930s, and what happens today is taking action. It's standing up in the face of hate. It is leadership. It is the opposite of passivity. Passivity is the behavior of our enemies, those who allow, like Pharaoh, their hearts to be hardened. 2 weeks ago, on the Syrian border, we met with former Lieutenant Colonel Eyal Dror. During the Syrian civil war, he headed the Good Neighbor Initiative, which brought injured Syrians, including children, for medical care in Israel. Over and over, he heard the same message. These children and their parents had been taught that Israel and Jews seek their destruction. They are poisoned with a hate that has international implications. While receiving care in Israel, these children come to love and trust the IDF uniform, the civilians who care for them, and even draw pictures of Israel's flag, showing the Star of David with pride. Yet, the hate they no longer ascribe to continues to spread throughout the Middle East, raising more generations seeking Israel's destruction. We just witnessed that same hatred at home. Outside the Young Israel in Kew Gardens, Queens, protesters chanted, "Say it loud, say it clear, we support Hamas here." This, too, is another example of passivity. These protesters' hearts have been hardened and their minds shut down, causing them to cheer on not only those who want Jews dead, but also what is the greatest threat to Gazan lives and well-being. They've moved beyond being pro-Palestine to simply wanting Jews dead, no matter the cost. They have the hardened hearts of Pharaoh. And their hearts are no different than that of the arsonist in Jackson, Mississippi, who caused massive destruction at Beth Israel congregation. If only those who threaten to destroy us would understand that their attacks strengthen our resolve to live Judaism more proudly, to claim our place among the global Jewish people. And in Israel, these constant threats against Israel's multi-ethnic, interfaith, democratic society only challenge its citizens to pursue the highest quality of life possible, which includes the pursuit of peace, a message shared with us in every conversation we had. The dream of peace is imagined by Liora Elon, a leader of Kibbutz Kfar Aza, whose son was murdered on that Black Sabbath. Peace is championed by Samar Sinajlawi, a Palestinian fighting to transform his own people to believe in Israel's right to exist and the security of its borders. And peace is the reigning value of Israel's soldiers, regular army, and reservists alike. I stepped away from our group of rabbis on a Friday morning to attend the unveiling of Captain Omer Nutra's headstone. Omer was a student at the Schechter School of Long Island where I worked, and I watched him grow into the most wonderful young man. After graduating, he moved to Israel for the year, then 2, and joined the IDF to serve in a tank unit as a lone soldier. He was killed on October 7th, heroically saving members of his crew, and his body was taken to Gaza and held there until recently. He is buried next to Staff Sergeant Itai Chen, whose story is strikingly similar. As is the Israeli custom, music accompanied the unveiling. Shuli Rand, a famous singer, led us in his song Between the Holy and the Mundane. His gravelly voice felt like an embrace during this painful ceremony. We came together as a community to hold up Omer's parents, brother, and family. Yet this song, with its closing lyrics, Ani tzarich ligdol mizeh v'dai, ligdol mizeh v'dai. I need to grow from this, and that is it. To grow from this, and that's it. Tell us to look forward. Even in their pain, in Israel's pain, its citizens and the Jewish people will activate. We will always have our eyes on the horizon. We will look ahead and grow toward our future. At the end of Parashat Va'era, we've arrived at the plague of hail. Unlike the plagues that preceded it, this time, God issues a warning directly to Pharaoh. For this time, I am about to send a plague that will prove as devastating to your beliefs as all my other plagues together. I will send it against your very heart and against your courtiers and your people, so that you will realize that there is none like me in all the world. Arnold Ehrlich, a teacher of our own Rabbi Stephen Wise, explains that this warning enables Pharaoh to plan. Will he leave his livestock outside or provide them with shelter? Will he warn his people and guide them through this plague with minimal losses? Or will his pride get in the way and put them at risk? As we reach the end of our Torah portion, the period of passivity has concluded. Pharaoh's free will is restored, and the evil he brings to this world is his to own. Soon, Israelites will prepare their first Passover offering. They will jump into the sea of reeds, causing it to part, and they will ready themselves for God's revelation, all on their way to the promised land. These are the actions of our forebears. They believe in the future of our people, a faith and an activism that they have passed to us today. Shabbat Shalom.